Imagine being sealed alive in total darkness. Your entire world is now a deep hemisphere of stone, split perfectly down the middle by a wall. On your side, you lie in the dust. On the other side, measuring the space with soft, heavy steps, is a pacing jaguar. This is the reality for Tzinikan, an aging Mayan priest. He is here because men on towering horses arrived and burned the great pyramid of his city to the ground, demanding to know where the god's treasure was hidden. When he refused to speak, Conquistador Pedro de Alvarado ordered him tortured with fiery metals. He endured the agonizing burns in silence. Thrown into this pit to rot, Tzinikan is consumed by an absolute, unyielding desire for justice. He calculates the day he will crush Alvarado, drive out the invaders, and reconstruct his fallen empire. His physical body is entirely ruined. He knows he will die in this dark cell, yet his mind remains fiercely intact. Cultivated by decades of rigorous spiritual training, his intellect is now the sharpest, most dangerous weapon left in his conquered world. Tzinikan holds on to an ancient myth. He knows that at the beginning of time, his god foresaw a future of devastation and ruin. To protect humanity from this eventual apocalypse, the god authored a single magical sentence of 14 words. Whoever reads this sentence will wield absolute power. The problem is how to communicate a message across eternity. A god cannot simply carve words into rock, because time and wind will eventually level mountains. The message cannot be traced into the sky, because over millennia, constellations drift out of alignment. Geology and astronomy are too fragile. In the dark, Tzinikan realizes the god chose a medium that repairs itself. He encoded the script onto a living, self-replicating canvas. The message was woven into the biological lineage of jaguars, endlessly breeding in caverns and cane fields, passing the text through generation after generation. One of those exact biological descendants is pacing inches away from him. Tzinikan realizes his path to revenge doesn't require him to break through the stone ceiling. He only has to use his mind to decode the living text locked in the cage beside him. This image displays the complex rosettes and black patterns on the yellow fur of a jaguar. Every day at noon, a single shaft of light breaks into the cell for just a few seconds. Tzinikan uses those brief flashes to memorize the configuration of these spots, noting which have embedded points, which form cross lines on the inner legs, and which carry red edges. He spends years in the dark mentally assembling these organic shapes into a deliberate grammatical structure. He is searching for an alphabet, trying to extract a perfectly ordered syntax out of wild biology. But he hits a conceptual wall. Human words isolate a single fraction of an idea. You say jaguar, and you mean the animal. In divine linguistics, a single word contains the entire explicit history connected to that object. The deer the jaguar devoured, the grass that fed the deer, the earth that grew the grass, and the star that warmed the earth. An absolute mind doesn't string sentences together over time. It utters the sum total of existence instantaneously. Tzinikan is attempting to force a mortal, linear brain to process the infinite, simultaneous data of the cosmos. He is no longer reading a hidden sentence. He is straining to hold the weight of all existence in a single thought. The sheer weight of that data begins to break his sanity. The human mind is not built to hold the universe, and the cognitive load physically tortures him in the darkness. He falls into fever dreams where he sees a single grain of sand on the floor. Then there are 2, then 4. They geometrically expand, multiplying endlessly until he is physically suffocating beneath a massive hemisphere of sand. In the dream, he desperately tries to wake up, but a voice tells him that he has not awakened to reality, only to a previous dream. To wake from the infinite requires a person to retrace an endless path of dreams within dreams. The ego violently rejects total comprehension. Pushing human consciousness to the absolute edge of divine knowledge doesn't feel like enlightenment, it feels identical to death. Finally, the mental dam breaks. Tzinikan pushes past his biological limitations and experiences a sudden, blinding union with the divinity itself. He hallucinates the absolute cosmos. He sees an infinite multidimensional wheel made of both water and fire. It isn't in front of him or behind him. It exists in all places simultaneously. Within this structure, the veil lifts. He suddenly comprehends the exact cause and effect of every event in history. He sees the cosmic necessity of the men of wood, the burning pyramids, and even his own brutal torture at the hands of Alvarado. In this state of ultimate clarity, the chaotic patterns of the coat snap into perfect focus. The biological puzzle resolves, clearly presenting him with the exact 14-word formula he sought for so long. The ultimate weapon is now fully loaded in his mind. He has obtained the precise mechanism required to exact his revenge and save his people. The physical reality is right there in his throat. Simply speaking those 14 words out loud would instantly shatter his stone cell, crush the conquistadors, and rebuild his mighty empire from the ashes. But he refuses to speak them. He closes his mouth, choosing to lie in the darkness and let time obliterate him entirely. The very process of expanding his mind to understand the universe destroyed his individual identity. The boundaries that made him a specific Mayan priest named Tsinakon dissolved the moment he touched the divine. The man who craved revenge no longer exists. A mind that perceives the infinite, intertwined design of the entire cosmos cannot bring itself to care about the trivial, fleeting fortunes of one mortal man or one fallen nation. This is the final trap of the God Script. Absolute power requires total, universal understanding to attain. But achieving that total understanding destroys the exact human ego required to actually wield it.